As we speak, the Finnish authorities will drop a big charge leveled on Mr. Simon, a man held in Kylmäkoski Correctional Center. The question here is, which charge are these guys dropping and how will it play out? Well, in this video you get to see and understand things for yourself. We also have a fascinating news and update coming from the state of Anra, where the governor of that state traveled to USA, and he has made a ridiculous statement that did not sit well with a lot of indigent residents of that state. Yes. So the question here is, what has Charles Saluto executed in the USA that's triggered a lot of reactions in an Amra state? We will discuss that in this particular video. Still talking about an Amra state. The UTM, also known as Champ, came up to make a massive revelations regarding some centers in that state which definitely will not sit well with a lot of individuals in the country. Well, moving on swiftly, we have a massive update coming from the USA from the Embassy of USA Nigeria. These guys came up and have created a new rules and regulations that will be applied in the country moving on forward. So, what is this rule and how will it affect Nigerians? In this video, we shall be doing an in-depth analysis to uncover and to unravel every single thing that you need to know and understand. In this set video, we have some massive update coming from the desk of Peter Obi, a politician doiside in the Labour Party, but wants to move to the ADC. This man came up to make a statement regarding Masinu, and this statement has triggered Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president of the Federation. What did Peter Obi say that triggered the president? Well, you'll find out in this video briefing. We also have a massive and a very, very fascinating update coming from the desk of the Minister of Justice in Finland. Yes, the Minister of Justice of Finland has came up and reacted to some certain issues, some certain regulations and certain events that played out in Finland, and also the case of Simon, a man held in Kylmäkoski Correctional Center. The Minister of Finance is doing something that will definitely put individuals in that country in big mess. Well, moving on swiftly, we received a massive update coming from a popular musician, comedian, songwriter, and photographer in Nigeria in the person of Naso Boy. Yes, Naso Boy yesterday made a comment about the US and Nigeria, and his comment has triggered a lot of reactions in the Nigerian political scenes and its entirety. So the question here is, what did Naso Boy say that triggered a lot of reactions in the country? Well, you get your answers in this said video briefing. Moving on swiftly, we received a sad news coming from Lagos State, Nigeria, where an Igbo man was held arrested in prison in 1999 for an offense he did not commit. And as we speak, that Igbo man has been released unconditionally by the state government. Who is this man? What did he do? And how did he land in trouble? Well, we shall be giving you clarity on that particular update. We also have a fascinating news and briefing coming from the desk of the former Finnish ambassador to Nigeria. Yes, this lady has said a lot of things about Simon's case, Nigerians living in Finland and Nigerians in general, and she made a lot of revelations that you definitely wouldn't want to miss at this particular point in time. With all of that being said, let's kickstart this video briefing with our very first update. As stated previously, an individual, an Igbo man, was arrested and spent over 26 years in Kirikiri prison in Lagos State, Nigeria for an offense he did not commit. Well, for better clarity, showing right now on your screen is a photo of this man where, when he was released, he traveled to Abia State, Nigeria to meet with his aging mom. What did this man do? What is his name? And what are the offenses surrounding his case? Well, for better understanding, take a look at this article coming from Igbo History and Facts. State, and I quote, after spending 26 years on death row at Kirki prison in Lagos State for unknowingly buying a stolen generator, Io has reunited with his mother. He's from Abia State and was 22 years old at the time of his imprisonment in 1999. This is a sad story. When we received this article coming from a Twitter user, we had to do our own investigation to get clarity and to understand the case, how it played, and why he was arrested. Well, from our research in 1999, Obona met an individual who wanted to sell his generator. Obona showed interest. The seller brought the receipt of the generator. Obona confirmed the receipt and they made negotiations, and Una paid for that generator. Unknowingly, he never knew that that generator was stolen. Yes, the individual who sold this generator to him stole it from somewhere else. Yes, it was a stolen generator. This individual is known as Shugun Ajibadi. Interestingly, Yubono was arrested by the Lagos State Police in 1999. He was convicted in 2003 and sentenced to death. The surprising news of this whole investigation is that the individual who sold the generator to Yubono wasn't arrested. He did not have any time in jail or in prison. That guy is still walking free as we speak. But fortunately for an individual known as Sikang, yes, we all know sinking. Showing right now on your screen is a photograph of this man. This guy was arrested sometime this year and sent to Kirkiri for some statements he made about the president of Nigeria and other top leaders of the country. So Singh was arrested and sent to Kirki. Sikh King spent most of his time in the cell where Una was held in. Obuna informed him of every single thing that transpired in 1999 and how he's still held in custody for a crime he did not commit and how he's been placed on a death row pending when he will be probably executed. When CK King was released, he made series of videos calling the attention of the Abia state governor, informing him of someone he met in prison and somebody who actually was innocent. He was arrested for a crime that he did not commit. Fortunately, the governor of Abia State swung into action, and that is when moves and calls were made. And as we speak today, Yubono is out of prison, and showing right now on your screen is a photograph with him himself, the governor of Abia State, and this guy is showing right now on the right-hand side of your screen is a driver to the individual who sold the generator to who wasn't arrested and did not serve any jail time. This is a pure case of the negligence coming from the Nigerian judicial system. A man has spent 26 years of his life because he bought an item he had no idea about. This is a very, very sad one, and we didn't judicial system to sit up because we still have thousands of people like this in prisons. Different prisons doid all across the country serving times and doing times for crimes they have no idea about. As well, as we speak, a lot of Nigerians have been reacting and calling for the immediate arrest for the individual known as Shun, the man who sold the item to Yuban. Showing right now on your screen are some reactions coming from X. As you can see, we have a lot of individuals commenting and stating their vexation. The very first comment here is, please someone should drop C's handle. The other person said the greatest sin in life is poverty, which is absolutely correct. A user said this is sheer wickedness and heartlessness. Someone else said this thing shouldn't be poor him and other men. But then we saw a comment that made us to do some quick research. Take a look at this comment coming from Beautiful Cinderella. She said they should find a guy, justice must be served, that they should find a guy who sold that item Toa. So we have to do some quick research to know where this guy is. The individual who spent 26 years in Kirk. Well, after doing some research, we noticed that the Shun who sold the item to Yubono has been pardoned by the UN state government under the then governor Ibadapo Abadan. So, as you can clearly see, the man who made Yubono spent 26 years in prison has been pardoned. Just imagine the kind of country we live in. Anyways, kudos to the governor of Abia State. Kudos to Singh, who raised the whole awareness, who created a massive awareness on social media platforms, and kudos to all the lawyers involved in bringing back Yubono to his parent and to his life. We're moving on swiftly as we speak. A popular musician, songwriter, comedian known as Naso Boy made a comment on the 7th of July of 2025 that did not sit well with a lot of people in Nigeria. Well, showing right now on your screen is the comment Naso Boy made that triggered a lot of people. It stated, and I quote, "AK Cambodia, I may not be by birth, but I have been embraced by EU people with love and open arms. This is a note to say, I see you. I value you, your adopted son." And this, like I said, is coming from Naso Boy. Just in case you don't know who Naso Boy is, showing right now on your screen is his full name. His full name is Alal Michael Naziabaji, who is, like I said, a Nigerian comedian musician and originally from Osun State, Nigeria. After Naso Boy made that comment, it created a lot of reactions on the social media space. Showing right now on your screen are some comments under Naso's post. A lady known as Midday states, and I quote, "Once you want to chase clouts or get gullible followers, just mention Igbo." And Naso intelligently responded by saying, "Hate is in your blood, go and heal so you don't die with it." And a user known as Chiron said, "Don't you have a mother like I heard?" And Nasi said, "Worry." That means he has a worry mom. And the whole conversation went on and on and on. Some people weren't too happy that Naso Boy is identifying himself with EOS, somewhere like it's a good thing. Why would it's not a good thing, and you shouldn't say that you are Yoruba, and you should remain with us only? Well, moving on swiftly, the sitting and the current governor of Andhra State has made a statement that will not sit well with you watching this video, and did not sit well with a lot of people out there. So, the question here is, what did a Professor Charles Solito say that created pros in an Andhra state? Well, take a look at this article released on the 5th of July of 2025. It states Igbo criminals not Fani headsmen behind Southeast Onaling. Just in case you don't understand, this man is claiming that Igbo individuals are behind the unaliving of people in an Andhra state and not Fani. This article also went a step further to give us more clarity, where he states, the Andhra State Governor, Professor Chikuma Solito, has said the majority of kidnappings and killings in Andhra and other southeast states are perpetrated by Igbo criminals and North Fulani headsmen, as widely believed. Solito made this statement during an interactive town hall meeting with a Lamra indigent in the diaspora held at the Metro Point Hotel in New Carlton, Maryland, United States of America, adding that 99% of kidnappers and other criminals arrested in the state since he resumed office 3 years ago have been evil people. This is a big statement coming from the governor of Andhra State. But the question here is, how many Fani bandits have you arrested in an Andhra state for you to make this conclusion? Because from a statement, he's claiming that people who have been arrested, mainly Igbos, which simply means that they don't arrest this Fani bandits, they allow them to operate, the government even aid them to operate smoothly in any part of the country. So, how many bandits have you arrested as a sitting governor of the state? Well, right now on your screen is a quick analysis of banditry in an Andhra state. You see that the state has had series of issues of Fani banditry in that state. So, how many people have this guy arrested? That is the question you should answer before he gives us analysis on crimes in that part of the state. We're moving on swiftly. Why Solito was making interesting claims about the people of Andhra State. Jay also jump into the bandwagon. Yes. For a better understanding, take a look at this article showing right now on your screen. States data released by the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board during its 2025 policy meeting on Tuesday revealed that computer-based test centers in Imo and Andhra states topped the list of CBT centers nabbed for fingerprinting malpractices. In total, about 19 centers were nabbed nationwide, with Andhra having 6, Imo with 4, Abia with 1, Adu with 1, Kano with 2 centers, Iboy, Delta, Kaduna, Rivers, and Enugu State with 1 center each. So, as you can clearly see, this guy did some in-depth analysis or research and investigation, and they claim that Andhra State has one of the biggest numbers or the largest numbers of miracle centers in Nigeria. This is a very, very interesting one, and they also presented some data and facts to better portray their points. Showing right now on your screen is the data presented by JAM, and when you look closely, you'll find all the answers you need at this particular point in time. But then moving on swiftly, you have an interesting news coming from Finland, because as we speak, the current and the sitting Minister of Justice made a statement couple of days back that will trigger a lot of reactions, and probably this statement was made in reference to Simon, a man held in the Kila Correctional Center. So, what did this person say? Who is this Minister of Finance in the country? And what are the information shared within that statement? Well, showing right now on your screen is a total breakdown in a simplified form of what the Minister of Finance said. The Minister of Finance, first of all, is known as Alina Meri, and she wants to do something in the Finnish judicial system. It states what's going on. Finnish Justice Minister Lena Meri wants to change a rule about really serious crimes called Yakora records in Finland. What does this even mean? Well, right now, even if someone is suspected of a super serious crime, the law doesn't automatically let police hold them in jail before the trial. So, Minister Meri's idea is to bring back the old rule, where if a crime is classified to fall under this particular Finnish word, the suspect can be held in jail before their trial kicks off. And this is something that wants to be signed very soon. So, how does this even concern Mr. Simon? Well, it's very easy to understand. Simon was arrested, and while investigations were on, he was kept in Kila Correctional Center. Normally, he should have been granted bail. They should have allowed him to stay on bail while investigations are ongoing. But he was held in prison for months before facing the court of Florida Street Court. So this woman wants to make it a law that if you get arrested for a serious crime, you're going to be held in prison automatically and you have to wait till your time for trial kicks off. And this probably will be signed into law very, very soon. And this is to be done to correct the mistakes that happened during Simon's trial. Wow, this is an interesting one. But as we speak, a lot of top human rights activists in the African continent they came out to publicly show their displeasure. Yes, Dr. David Hankarak Masenga came out this morning to make a clear statement addressed to the Finnish president and the Minister of Justice in Finland, showing right now on your screen. It's an article coming from his official Twitter page, known as Africa World TV. It states, Finland, whose democratic civilization has endured over 500 years, has sadly resulted to fishing expedition law, arresting and detaining suspects first, then searching for evidence to frame them up. This is deeply troubling for a European nation known for hosting reconciliation efforts and preaching dialogue. And this, like I said, is coming from Dr. David Yoner Matsenga, who is a Pan-African Forum Limited and Associate CEO. So, what does this mean in the Finnish law? The police can arrest you and detain you for as long as the investigation is needed. This was done in reference to Simon's case. Well, talking about the USB and the BIAFRA movement, we received a clear and distinctive statement coming from Peter Obi that has triggered Balak Matunu, the president of the federation. So the question here is, what did Peter Obi say that triggered Balak Matunu, the politician in the All Progressive Congress? So take a look at the summary showing right now on your screen. It states what he said. Speaking in early July of 2025 on Channel TV's Politics Today, Peter described Kano's continued detention as unreasonable, saying it does not make sense, and also he criticized the legal foundations of Masinu's case. He also argued that Kano's alleged use of vulgar words shouldn't justify extended detention. And in summary, he's asking that the government of the country should release Masinu immediately. But as we speak, the president and the presidency fires back. They've heavily criticized Peter, showing right now on your screen. It's an article coming from The Punch, which was released today. Today being the 9th of July of 2025. It states, and I quote, "Presidency fires back at Obi as O demands freedom." In the same vein, the IPOB has also backed Peter Obi, and they've also called for the unconditional release of. This is something I want to make very clear, very clear. Finland condemns all violence and incitement to violence in all its forms. Political aims, of course, should be pursued through political means only. That is very clear said, and this is coming from the former Finnish ambassador to Nigeria, claiming that the case of Simon is something they have never seen in their country. The case of Simon is unique, and they have to take time to follow up with his case, because this man is a dual citizen. Based on the statement from this lady, she claims that this man is still a Nigerian and also a Finnish citizen. So, we have to put everything into consideration on or before the 29th of July of 2025. Anyways, moving on swiftly. We received an interesting article coming from Kenneth Okongo. Yes. Which probably might sound or feel sour to a lot of Southerners and might put the Northerners in a very, very comfortable position. Showing right now on your screen is a statement coming from Kenneth Okongo, as published by The Sun. It states, and I quote, 2027 presidency Tinubu will win if coalition picks Southerner. This article also went a step further to give us more clarity. The state Kitono, a former spokesperson for Peter Obi and now a member of the opposition coalition, has predicted that President Bola Tinubu will retain power in 2027 if the African Democratic Congress ADC presents a Southerner candidate like Obi as its presidential flag bearer. Speaking on Politics Today, a channel's television program aired on Tuesday, the actor-turned-lawyer argued that to sit to the opposition must rally behind a strong northern contender with national appeal, and this is coming from Katango, as stated by The Sun. What do you think of this statement, and what do you think of other topics discussed in this video? Well, before we wrap things off, yesterday the PAM District Court presented series of bailing conditions to Simon. Yes, they listed 10 conditions, 10 very stringent conditions to Simon. And as we speak, this man has rejected all of these conditions. He believes, and he claims that these conditions are not suitable for him. He also believed that these conditions seems quite impossible for a man of his stature to do at this particular point in time. Yes, in that video, we also disclosed every single thing you need to know and understand because as we speak, Simon has chosen to stay back in detention. He said, "I'm not signing this document. I will not agree to any of these things as presented by you guys, and I prefer to stay here in Finnish custody." Well, if you want to watch that video and get full updates, it's linked in the comment section. Go down to the comment section. You'll see a link that will take you straight to that video. And yesterday still, we also made a video regarding how the sentencing of Simon will probably look like. Yes, like we've said already, on the 29th or before the 29th of this month, the Pyramid Street Court will probably sentence him, and he will see all of the verdict. In our video released yesterday, we took our time to explain how the Pyramid Street Court would look like and its operation. Yes, just in case you don't know, there are 3 judges that will preside that judgment day. There are 3 judges, and these 3 judges will give a verdict unanimously. That is to say, each person will look at the case file, look at the evidence presented, and every other single thing within, and give a verdict. That is highly a very, very interesting style of giving sentencing, and like I said, these judges will unanimously give their verdict. In a video released yesterday, we explained every single thing that you need to know and understand. We definitely see the formalities on how the Finnish law is being carried out. You get to see how everything will be arranged and executed. Yes, it's a very, very fascinating one. And just in case you want to watch that video and get full updates, a better picture for yourself, we have that video right on this channel.